live just now, just FYI.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
But yeah, no, it's it should be good fun. We're gonna get it KFC and a Domino's. We're going full American.
Nice, yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, and it's gonna be a grand old time. But yeah, no, apart from that, yeah, just kind of vibing this weekend, just enjoying. I can see I was playing Midnight Suns this morning, and Caden and Rich have busted out Apex again, and they were inviting me, and I was like, maybe later.
Oh, did they?
Like, they were on it, yeah. I mean, the game's done it's made some pretty interesting changes. To be fair, I don't know if it's enough to bring me back, because Overwatch is still, I still want to play Overwatch. I'm just in a bit of like a single player game phase at the moment.
I think everyone's gone off it, to be honest.
You think everyone's done,
especially Jake?
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, like, Origin, Caden did boot it up the other day, but like, I do think you not being a bit doing other stuff has killed their motivation to play it a bit. But Jake's like, no, I'm not playing that game anymore. Like, Jake's straight up like done.
Damn. Yeah, I'm just going through a bit of a phase where, yeah, obviously we played Hi-Fi Rush, and then I played a bit of Darkest Dungeon, and now I've just got Midnight Suns as well. I'm just in a bit of a single player game phase, so like nothing multiplayer is really piquing my interest too much. Like, I wouldn't mind, but yeah, it's just not 100% vibing with the multiplayer aspects and stuff at the moment.
No, that's fair. I mean, there's so much single player stuff at the moment, isn't there? I suppose the only thing I'd probably be the same if Age of Empires didn't come out, because that's what we're playing like most of the time as a group. And shout out to Geordie on Twitter who suggested that I give it a go, because I was initially I wasn't really sure. I know I'd spoken about it before on the podcast, but he was like really hyped on Twitter, and I was like, do you know what? Fine, I'll give it a go. And then obviously a few of us gave it a go, and we've all been playing. Like, even we got Ridge on for the first time. We played with Mike, and we were doing like 4v4s. It's good fun.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like my cup of tea, but then I do think that, again, if I tried it and I played with friends, it probably would be, if I'm honest. Okay. Let's say Tilly needs to just grab something out of the room quickly.
Yeah, do what you need to.
Yeah, I do think it's something that we could probably quite enjoy. Wait, which one is it you need? This with the stick as well.
Just, yeah.
Hi, Tilly.
Dex says hi. She says hi back. Yeah, she's just doing a recording for one of her because she's got like a booktube thing where she like uploads.
I saw.
Yeah, so
yes, I'm a follower.
Yeah, no, she's on. She only started it like a month ago, and she's already on like almost 100 subs. So she's well ahead of us.
Lady. Lovely. Yeah.
But yeah, Killer. So yeah, no, it's something I might try. But yeah, who knows? Like, there's only so many tactical games I can take at the moment, and yeah, I mean, I guess we could just segue into just what we've been playing and stuff. But yeah, Midnight Suns is good. Fucking class, dude. It's so good. I am having so much fun with that game. I've already dumped about 12 hours into it, and I don't even know how I've managed to dump that much time, because it really doesn't feel like it. It's just very easy to play. It's just so like relaxed. Not like easy as in like, you know, it is difficult and it is tactical and stuff like that, but it's just easy to boot up and play. Like, it's just, there's not too much effort required in it. And yeah, it's just a great old time, man. It's just it's like everything you love about XCOM, with like this fucking cool ass Marvel twist on it, and like building your own like deck and stuff like that. I mean, the decks aren't like massive or anything. I think each hero only brings in like 8 cards, I think. So you have a team of 3, 8 cards apiece. Maths, that's 24 cards total. I believe it's 8. Yeah. So it's not like you're building like an expansive deck, but it's cool because like each hero like specializes in something different. So like you got like Spider-Man, for example, who does like loads of like knockback. He has like loads of knockback cards, so you can knock people into like environmental objects and stuff like that, and he gets like bonus damage on those. And as you build like your friendship with him as well, like teammates, if you have them in the team, like everyone has better knockback damage and environmental damage and stuff. Whereas like like Ghost Rider like has like self-punishing moves that use like a lot of heroism and stuff like that. So you want someone that can they basically just work with each other, and it's just really cool, man. Yeah, I'm having the grandest time with that game at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really happy to hear it because it's a game I was excited for ages. Yeah, I think we both were, weren't we? And then I got delayed, and then it came out kind of at a bad time.
It was also just we're just not really let's spend £70 gamers anymore. We're very much like, let's just wait for it to get on Games Pass. And as much as we really wanted it, I just don't think we were like, yeah, we don't really want to spend 35 quid a piece or whatever on it. You know, not to say that it's bad. It definitely is worth that, like 100%. And with all the news that's come out about it not selling that well, I'm kind of glad I did buy it, you know, supporting them a little bit, because I don't think we're getting a sequel for this game based on the fact of how it sold. We're not like.
Well, I think it's. I've heard. Sorry to cut you off, but like, so I've heard that like these sorts of games, Firaxis games in particular, always do this. They don't sell well, but they have a really long tail. Like people do pick it up a lot on sale. So like, yeah, sure, it dampens revenue, but people generally quite like the look of them. But maybe there's a thing in people's brains of like, oh, a tactical game that's not worth $7. Do you know what I mean? It's like that's not worth a massive price tag.
Yeah, no, yeah, 100%. And I mean, they're doing a really cool thing where they're adding characters as well. Like they've recently just added Deadpool. And I think they got plans to add Moon Knight as well, which would be sick.
Moon Knight.
But like, it's the sort of thing where you go through the Abbey, which is like the HQ, and you know, and like everyone's got like a room and stuff like that. There's literally like 10 blank rooms with no symbols on it, and like the doors aren't open, sort of thing, where everyone else has their symbol on it. So it's just like, I don't know, like they've planned to add a lot of characters to this game. Whether or not they do, you know, based on how it's selling and stuff like that, is another story. But they definitely have plans to add quite a lot, I think. You know, I think looking at the rooms and stuff like that and the space in the headquarters, yeah, I would imagine about 5 to 10 characters they could possibly add to it by the time of its finale. You know, maybe it'll have like a bit of like a Siege sort of vibe to it, where it just hangs around for ages and just... like I hope they at least do that if they're not going to make a full-on sequel. Like just keep making characters for the game, keep making it interesting, like DLC expansions or something like that. I think there's a lot of life in that game, because as new characters come out, they'll play with the entire default roster. You know, they'll have unique combinations with, and all the new ones as well. So yeah, I highly recommend you hopping on and giving it a go, because I think you'll fall in love with it as well. It's quite the ordeal from what I hear. It's like a 70-hour game, but very, very good. Yeah.
Wait, do I have permission?
You have permission. Yeah, I was only kidding. Of course you can use it.
Well, I think it's kind of funny because it is like a bit of a moral dilemma. Like maybe we should explore. Like I'm sure our listeners have had the same problem. You know, with the whole game sharing thing. This idea of like, obviously you both want to split things, but then there are some games that like one of you doesn't want to buy right now, or is like sort of interested in, but maybe you wouldn't dump a full price game into it. You know, things like that, depending on the circumstances. And so you get into this. Sometimes you reach this kind of point where it's like one of you buys it, but then it's like I was explaining this to Beth, because Beth was like, "Yeah, you shouldn't play it. Like you said you wouldn't pay for it, so you shouldn't."
Oh, dude, I'm the one that impulse bought it. Like it's nothing to do with me. Like you can play it.
Because she said you should like wait a year. You should wait a year at least. Otherwise you owe half the money. I was like, well, no, think about it this way. It's like, I don't want a pizza right now. Or like, well, vice versa, you know, whatever. It's like if Tim didn't want a pizza, but I did, and then I ate it, I'm not going to say you're not allowed the leftovers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is that a good analogy?
I think so.
Because there are games that I've bought as well. I can't remember. You know, it goes both ways. You know, and ultimately we
Exactly.
don't keep
Yeah.
points against each other, do we? It's just how it falls.
Yeah.
But it's a moral dilemma. It really is. Because I was like, it looks fun, and like you're giving it a lot of praise, and I'm not in a place to like boot it up right now. But you know, maybe I'll give it an hour or so next weekend or something.
Yeah, no, dude. Like, I'm totally kidding when I said that you can buy it, obviously, and I know it's. Yeah, I do know what you mean, with the whole thing. But like, I'm the one that bought it. I bought it without even telling you as well. I was literally just messaged you one night, and I was like, I did a bad thing, and then I sent you an emoji of a sun and a moon, and then you were just like, oh, for fuck's sake, like, I'm not gonna make you pay money towards that, you know.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's like. I know you because you have a history of buying like disc games, particularly in these cases. So I'm glad you got it digitally, you know, but it's just one of those things. Because
I did look at it on a physical copy as well, but like the prices were like the exact same, and I think I could have got it cheaper physical, because the game wasn't on offer. But then literally that day, it was Destiny. Like that day, I booted up the store and it was a 2K publisher sale. And I was literally just like, and it just went back to it like its original price of like 36 quid. So I was just like, and yeah, I did buy it digitally in mind, where I was like, it's around the same physical, plus deck will have it. You know, that did come into my mind. I was like, you know, it does benefit two people when I'm spending the same price. So,
rad.
But yeah,
a true altruist.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's what I do. But yeah, super good. Like, I'm genuinely like, I'm vibing for it right now. Like, I don't really want to be here doing this podcast.
I'm sorry to hear it.
It's good fun.
You should try CD keys as well. This goes to the audience. Like, if you want to buy digital, but just go CD keys. I always find games so cheap there. Like, if not cheaper than physical. For the same reason, Tim might want to play this one day.
Yeah.
Yeah. CD keys.
Yeah. But there's another one that is similar to CD keys. Don't use that. It's called CD something, and everything is so cheap on it. Like, literally, Marvel's Midnight Suns was like £9, but then like you read like the reviews and you look up the site, and people are like, I never got the game, or like the code didn't work, stuff like that. So you have to be careful. It's CD keys specifically is reputable, but not like this other one that sounds very similar. So if it's too cheap and looks too good to be true, it probably is. So don't
that's it. Well, because I was even looking up like Hogwarts, right? I was like, because like, Beth also as well, because she's got some essays, and I thought it'd be nice, you know, if we can get it for her at the end of all of it. But like, and I kind of want to play it. This is the difficulty, because obviously we share games, but, you know, I don't need it right now, etc., etc. And I was looking up Hogwarts, and it's already like you can get it like a bit cheaper on CD keys, you know, like a tenner cheaper than it is on the store. £65, man. Like, I just can't, man.
It's pricey.
I can't believe it. And as well, my sister-in-law wanted to buy it, and she had she was going to get it on the Xbox One, because I gave her my Xbox One X, and they've staggered the release. Not only have they staggered the release date, so like it releases later on Xbox One. The Xbox One edition comes out in like June or something. It's out ages, which is fine. Maybe they need time to downgrade it. You know, whatever. That's fine. April, but they've done the whole thing.
But
April, fair enough. They've done the whole thing where they've just foregoed smart delivery. So there's a Series X and S version and an Xbox One version, which is like, it's so confusing. And like,
we had that issue with
that close to buying the wrong version.
We had that issue with Tina's, didn't we? Tiny Tina's, where you bought the wrong edition, and you messaged them, and they were like, "Nah, it's cool, man. Like, it happens." And they like gave you the other one. Like, they probably get so much of that shit on a daily basis. Like,
I bet they do.
They probably don't want to do it, but it's just one of those things with the staggered releases. But yeah, no, I've kind of been watching that game firsthand, and it's pretty good, man. It looks pretty sick. It's gorgeous to look at. Like, my God, the castle and the grounds and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, Tilly is playing it in resolution mode as well. She's not playing it in the performance 60 frames. But yeah, I mean, like, lip sync and character models and stuff like that, sure, like, we've seen better, but like the castle and like the grounds and the lighting and stuff like that, it's pretty wonderful. to look at.
Because I've got to admit, every time I see photo, like a lot of people, I'm seeing a lot on Twitter posting, I'm like, oh, gorgeous game, but it looks a bit washed out to me. I mean, maybe it's just the way it's coming through on Twitter. Like it looks a bit like the direction looks really good. Like all the the locales and stuff look really, really nice. But I don't know, just on the screenshots, it looks a bit washed out. But maybe it's just Twitter.
I haven't noticed that. I've noticed colors pop in quite nicely in that game. Yeah, maybe it's just the way it's sort of it's published to Twitter and stuff like that. It's kind of like whenever you take a picture and send it over WhatsApp, the quality's fucking shit, isn't it? So it's good, man. And obviously I've been handed the controller a few times to get her out of a sticky situation. But like the combat is cool as well. Like it's pretty nice. Like the whole like juggling system and like lifting them up and putting them back in and using different spells to work with each other. And like a lot of enemies have like specific elemental weaknesses over different ones. It's cool. It's cool. Controls are a little bit janky for me. Like there are a few times where like I feel like I'm kind of battling with the controls, and my character's just doing some weird stuff. But for the most part, it's pretty solid, and it does a good job of making you feel like a badass witch or wizard. It's cool.
Nice. Yeah, I did want to speak about, so no, to do that. I really risked on how it's not anticipating it to be reviewed as highly as it is. It's currently on 85, which Tim predicted about 12 hours in advance. That's weird, actually. It's like a degree of like clairvoyance going on. To the point, yeah. I think 85 at the moment. Yeah, I'm really.
Cutting out a little bit. I don't want to mess up your flow here, but you're lagging a little bit. Just a smidge. I'm not sure if it's coming through on the stream, but
because
I don't know if there's anything you can do, or if someone's zapping your internet.
I think it's because I open Metacritic.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah, just ask me to open that sort of stuff if it crashes your PC or whatever. I'm happy to.
I'll just close. All right, am I back? Hello?
I think you're back.
Clean?
Yeah. I think you're kind of clean. Yeah.
Okay. Just stop doing that then. Yeah, there's been like a kind of uprising of like licensed games, hasn't there? Like we've had loads of licensed years that have turned out really well, like Spider-Man and Marvel getting a Midnight Suns is another one. Hogwarts probably being the most prolific. I mean, it's like the thing's selling gangbusters, isn't it? It's like top 8 all time sales on Steam.
Yeah,
it's mental.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some others like I'm not thinking of right now, but there are some licensed games that have done really, really well.
Yeah, it's just a real shame with the negativity that's being received with it. And like, have you heard like streamers and content creators just getting like harassed, like just playing the game? Like there was literally like a website made.
Yeah, it's a bit much, isn't it?
Yeah, you could literally type and find out all the streamers and content creators that have played the game or are currently live playing the game. It takes you straight to their stream just so they can throw hate and like just like abuse your chat and stuff like that. It's like, I don't know, man.
Yes,
I get people are upset, but I think it's an extreme view to say, oh, if you purchase this game because you want to be a wizard and it's a cool magical world, you're transphobic. It's just like, well, come on, I'm not. Let's be honest, I'm really not. I just want to play a video game.
It's just a bit of a dilemma, I don't think there's really a clear answer there. There's no good or evils here, it's just there's a lot we do that uphold systemic difficulties, and it's like I'm not the first to say it, there's no such thing as ethical consumption under capitalism. Everything you buy puts someone in trouble. It puts someone, it makes someone have to go to work, it makes someone have to do something they probably don't want to be doing, really. So there is that, but at the same time, by all means be upset.
Yeah, if you want to take it to that extreme, you have your right, but Yeah.
I do feel at the same time, and that's why obviously I feel like some of these behaviors are a bit extreme, but on the other side of it, I think it's very easy for a lot of us to hand wave it when a lot of people feel, pressured and harassed like on a daily basis because of just being trans. Like so it's difficult, but at the same time, it's like you're not going to convince, how many other people are going to buy this game to not buy the game because they just don't view that, to them, this isn't a political topic.
Yeah.
No such thing as ethical consumption anyway. So the whole thing's fucked.
It's true. We won't get into that rabbit hole, but he is right. But yeah,
I mean, I just sorry to everyone. Really, it's just a shame that we're in this pickle.
Yeah,
that's really about as far as I can go.
Yeah. On that side of things, it does suck. But I mean, I guess on the lighter side of things, you can. Congrats to the devs for this is I think this is like this is by far their biggest title and like undergoing, and fuck me if they nailed it like right out the gates. Like that's really impressive, like considering like their previous games, like working on like Cars 3 and stuff like that. And it's just like, and then they just jump to a fucking Hogwarts Harry Potter license open world RPG and fucking on a grand scale and hit it. Like I don't think anyone was expecting them to. Like you were saying, like,
maybe that Cars 3 ain't so bad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Cars 3 is a sleeper hit. When we were in our chat doing the rounds, there's like 10 people in this chat, so we were just doing the rounds and everyone was like, 70, 74, 72, 70, 70, 70. Like, everyone didn't really have faith they'd put it off, except for me. I think I predicted 84, didn't I? So I was 1 point off, but yeah. And you messaged me in all caps saying you're dreaming, mate.
You're like, dreaming, yeah. I think you said 85. I'm pretty sure the point.
Did I actually get it down to the point? Yeah. I don't know,
think
man.
you did. Yeah.
It just looks solid. I just had that vibe about it. I don't know. I can't say that was based off.
I know you did say 84
calculations or anything like that, but it was just based off the sort of vibe, and I was following the game relatively closely with its like launch and stuff like that because Tilly was really into it, and I just I just kind of had a feeling it would be a bit of a banger.
Yeah, but I mean, good for them, them, man. It's not easy to take a license like that and hit it out of the park as well as they did. Although there was some sussy. I guess we've come full circle a little bit. There was some sussy like review outlet picking, and this is like an increasing thing I've been seeing. With the publishers deciding who they want to give review codes to, and now there are some more because the game was at an A6 and it's trickling down a little bit now because some of the reviewers are doing it, and also you get this problem where a lot of the times if publishers don't give reviewers codes, those reviewers often won't go back and play it to then review it. Do you know what I mean? Because it's pointless. It doesn't generate them views to put a review up 7 days later when they're especially at this time of the year. Do you know what I mean? So, I don't know why that's legal. It's market manipulation. Like I don't understand why nobody is like addressing that as a thing. And that's not to undermine the quality of the game. I'm just saying I think there was a little bit of funny behavior, but I think Warner Bros has done that before. So
yeah. No, it's a bit sussy, isn't it? Yeah.
And never look up Gran Turismo love letter. Never look that up. You'll be shocked and appalled. That was a saga.
I kind of want to now. What was that? What's the story behind that?
If you just Gran Turismo, the PlayStation 5 game that came out the beginning of last year, was it? I think 2022. Just if you type in Gran Turismo love letter, search and just scroll. I dare you. You'll be shocked and appalled. It's a conspiracy. And I am unraveling this.
Gran Turismo 7 love letter specifically?
Sure. I mean, yeah. And then just scroll down.
What, like go into the article or just
No. Just have a look at the search results.
A love letter to Gran Turismo. Only played 5. This game is a love letter to cars. Gran Turismo, a love letter to cars, a love letter to
Oh,
cars.
bit weird that, isn't
So
it? Bit weird that they're all using that.
They're all, oh, I see. All the different review outlets are using the exact same title. Jesus Christ, a love letter. Gran Turismo, a love letter to car culture. It's a love
Bit
letter
weird
to
that, isn't it?
Oh god, that is.
What are you doing over there, Sony? What are you doing over there, PlayStation?
Oh,
Where's all your budget gone to review outlets? Get fucked, you know.
God.
Yeah, I mean, and because like it just came up because like Jeff Grubb had posted something about, I think, to do with the whole chat about Hogwarts. He had said that there have been times where he's been offered his seat of a review code was conditional on him using a particular sentence in his title or in the review. So like, this is clearly is an uncommon practice, and like that's obviously a case where it's happened. But that's not coincidence that like 30 review outlets have used the exact same phrase.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Oh god.
It does make you think about where we're at in terms of like that sort of manipulation, and it's like yeah, like they know as much as we say reviews don't matter that much. Yeah, they're seeing data that suggests that they do, or they wouldn't be paying outlets to say particular things or give particular scores. So
yeah.
Okay, well, while we're on the topic of games this week, there was another thing, Tim. There was Nintendo Direct. Did you watch it?
No, I didn't. No, I've been meaning to do a catch up on it. Because me and Tilly are both quite interested in watching it, but I haven't got around to it yet. I caught wind of some of the announcements. I watched the trailer for the new Zelda. And I heard that Metroid Prime got a remaster, and like Pikmin 4 got a trailer and stuff like that. But no, I don't know too much about it. But yeah, I heard it was a banger though. I heard it was a really good show.
It was pretty good. I wouldn't say it's I wouldn't go that far, but it's Nintendo doing Nintendo. A lot of like games you've never heard of with like they're like 17 word long names, like Tales of Lumia. The last shadow bending hedgehog in all the realms, 2nd edition Japanese remastered, translocated 5 times. It's like
9.6 out of 10.
9.6 out of 10, exactly. Four reviewers reviewed it. 9.6 out of 10. A love letter to long fucking names. So yeah, there was a lot of that. They had like a whole middle section. They showed like something about split. They've got actually, it's pretty interesting. They had a lot of trailers for like expansion passes, and I was like, Nintendo have finally got their head in the game of like services. I know they've had like the pass for Mario Kart, haven't they? But now there's one for Splatoon, and there was one for another game as well that they're doing, and they've clearly caught wind of that working. So
yeah,
free money.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
And then the big things, obviously, Metroid Prime Remastered has been all over Twitter, and I'm really confused. I need someone to explain this to me. I know Metroid Prime is like a classic. I haven't played it, but like, everybody's sharing it, and they're like, "Man, this is gorgeous." And it's currently on like a 94 on OpenCritic.
Wow.
And everyone's like, "Wow, this is gorgeous. This is so gorgeous." And like they're sharing screenshots on Twitter, and I'm like, am I missing something? Like, it looks good. It's fine. It looks like a Switch game. I don't know.
We'll move on.
I guess it's like
bombed.
I guess it's just and I asked this question on Twitter. I said something to the effect of like, can someone like actually explain to me, like, am I missing something, or is this just another one of those like nostalgia things where people played it and now they're playing it again and they're like, wow, it's just how I remember it, and the controls have been updated. Everybody says it's a good remaster in terms of like the controls are updated and things like that in a really good way, which is great. But 94.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. I mean, that's like Metroid was like some of the best of its kind, in that game genre. Well, they literally call them Metroidvanias, don't they? It literally invented that genre to an extent, and I think to a lot of people is one of the best and one of the original titles for for that genre, and yeah, obviously seeing it again and playing it again is tickling that nostalgic itch for them. And yeah, it's just had a nice facelift. So I think for a lot of people, it literally just is that. Like, I do think it's as simple as it just being a nice facelift on a very nostalgic, loved historic game. Like, I don't think there's too much to look into there. But yeah, I mean, I do agree that a 94 is obviously a ridiculously high score. That's outscoring like Elden Ring and shit, isn't it? What did Elden Ring get? And like the new God of War.
I think Elden Ring settled on a 95 or 94, and God of War settled on a 93.
Yeah, so like, it's nice, and I get the game's great, but I don't think a game that just gets a facelift and looks good should compete with games of that caliber. Personally, but that's just me.
Yeah, I don't know. I always struggle with, and like, it's not that I don't think Tim is saying that big games are the only games that can get good reviews. That's not what he's saying at all. It's just that it likely has some dated design in there. Let's face it, and I think we both share some skepticism over Nintendo reviews, which are always hyped up because they're nostalgic properties, and that's essentially what I'm getting at here. It's like, is this a 94 game? Was it even 94? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt in my mind it's a fantastic game, and it's probably like, it's definitely probably an 85 plus with the way it looks and plays and the fact that it's just an absolute classic. But like, yeah, just 94 is just like, it's almost perfect. Like, and I don't know, I just think a game that's just essentially is the same and got some nice tweaks and a facelift and stuff like that. I don't know. But Nintendo definitely have got this formula down where like they can just crank this shit out and just bag easy 9 out of 10s multiple times a year. Yeah. But hey ho, Nintendo fans are a different breed.
Maybe
they need nostalgia is like oxygen for them.
Yeah, that's right. Or maybe it's a perfect game. Maybe we're wrong. It was a perfect game then, perfect game now. Who knows? I'm sure that's not a wild thing to say at all, is it? Yeah, I'm sure that's the case, and we're wrong.
Definitely.
Hi, David. I can see David in the chat. Would you agree that Atomic Heart is going to run well on the Xbox Series X? Oh, I don't know, dude.
I don't think so.
I'm skeptical.
I think that game's going to have. I think that game's going to be 30 with frame dips. I don't think that game's going to run fantastic. One, it looks great. Just the way it looks. Yeah. So I think it will struggle to run. And two, I just think the developers aren't experienced or big enough to get something like that to run like extremely polished. I think this is by their biggest title or their first title they've ever done, I think.
It might be, yeah.
So like, I just don't have faith that they're going to have this perfectly optimized and looking as good as it does and playing as well as it does. I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be serviceable. I'm actually quite looking forward to it, but I don't think I think 30 with dips.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they'll go for higher, but I'm not convinced it'll be locked. Like, because the PC specs came out the other day. I think that's probably what's prompted David to ask. And they were quite high. They weren't unreasonably high, but they were quite high.
Not Forspoken.
Like, if they can't. Not Forspoken, that's right. Yeah, if they can't get it above 30 on a Series X, I think this is just X only. I don't think it's on Xbox One.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I'll be quite surprised, but maybe you're right. It does have that vibe to it, doesn't it? It just has that vibe. Explain it. It has the low performance, 25 frames vibe.
yeah, it really does. But if the game. It sort of feels, and it's like it's kind of like that slow sort of Bioshocky kind of shooter. So in those sort of games, you don't need to be locked at 60. Like a 30 can feel quite nice still in those games. Where the combat is kind of slow and kind of clunky, like Prey-esque and stuff like that. I feel like you can get away with it a bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully it does well. I'm pretty excited for that game. So.
Yeah, no, I am as well. That's there's quite a few exciting Game Pass releases coming up, isn't there? Which is like kind of why I'm hesitant to like start dipping into Midnight Suns as well. Between Atomic Heart and Wolong. Wolong has co-op.
Oh, just like full blown co-op.
I think so. I think it's 3-player co-op. I think that's in there.
Oh wow.
I'm not sure like exactly how it works, but I just found this out the other day. I don't know if there's like I don't know. I don't know if you can just invite people in or if you need to do some weird Souls like summoning system. I don't know. I need to look into it really. But yeah, I was quite surprised when I saw that. It was quite interesting.
When is that game dropping again?
April? March? Oh no, I can't remember. March?
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe it's closer than that. I can't remember.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it definitely looks interesting. I didn't think it was co-op. And even in the slightest. Like I genuinely just thought it was single player really. But
yeah, no, so that's exactly what I thought. Let's just double check. Oh, March 3rd. There you go. Not that far away at all. A couple of weeks.
Yeah. Well, a few weeks. Yeah. But yeah, cool.
All right. Well, let's get on with some of the show then, Tim. First thing that I wanted to talk about was the last case of Benedict Fox got a release date, April 27th. Obviously, day one on Game Pass. One of those exclusive indie games that Xbox like to kind of scoop up, and historically have a really good job of selecting. It's one that Tim outbidded me for on our Fantasy Critic, right under my fucking nose.
Let's go. It looks great.
It does look great. And if you could share it on the screen, that would be great, Tim. It looks really, really nice. Just so
yeah, sure.
I've got a little link there. I'll take you to a tweet.
I will do that.
But it looks really good in motion. It looked lovely. So I think it's the first gameplay we've seen on it. There's a Steam demo out now, which obviously I think is a bit weird. Firstly, but secondly, like I can't play that because I don't have a gaming PC. It'd be nice if there was a demo on Xbox, but hey ho. Yeah, it looks baller, man.
Yeah, it does look really good. I'm just playing the video now.
The lighting looks absolutely delightful.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I put it on mute just for the sake of, I'm not sure what the audio levels are like, but yeah, no, it does look really good, man. And like you said, Xbox have like a really good history with these sort of things. So immediately when I just keep hearing this game's name like mentioned in like lineups with like other big games, and I'm like, people know something here. They've played this, they know something. Like, why does this keep getting name dropped? Like indies like this don't just get name dropped in like the top 5 upcoming titles of a really big year, quite as often as this one has. And I think it's it's looking good to the point where they've released a demo as well for it. That shows confidence as well. You don't really see demos too often these days. So yeah, exciting.
It's striking me as like an Ori level breakout hit, and like quality in terms of the first one. Maybe I'm off on that, but it's the quality bar just looks really high, man.
It does. Yeah, it really does. Yeah, no, I'm excited for this one. And I think if I were to do April 27th, you said.
Yeah. That's the release date.
Let's do some live predictions. I've been on a roll with these. I'm thinking
you have.
I'm gonna go again in the 8. I'm gonna say 83 for this one.
Yeah, I was thinking low 80s maybe. You know what? I'm gonna bump that up. I'm gonna go 86.
Oh,
this is gonna be a smash.
It's live.
It's gonna be an indie smash.
Definitely not a pass. 100% smash.
Exactly.
Cool.
So yeah, best of luck to that team. Really. Of at least first half of Game Pass hits. So we're all going to be busy. Okay, next up, Tim. Ubisoft Plus appears to be making its move to Game Pass soon. I feel like we've been speaking about this for months and months and months, and nothing's really come of it yet. So I mean, we'll see. But it's been spotted by Microsoft Store leakers that some, how on the game squares on the little bottom left corner, it says X and S to kind of indicate, it's optimized for X and S. There's this little U plus symbol that's appeared as well that's been spotted, which obviously indicates that the service seems to be coming soon. And it kind of begs the question: is this good? Like, is this is it useful? Are people interested in this? Is it going to be bundled in with Game Pass the same way? Are we getting to the stage where Game Pass tiers might start appearing?
Oh, yeah, good point. Yeah. Like, will this come with like an additional fee, like a $1.99 upgrade on your Games Pass to get Ubisoft as well, sort of thing?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Like bolt-ons.
Obviously,
that's
the
what
way
I used to call it, wasn't it? Bolt-ons.
Yeah, that's good on bolt-on. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, like, 'cause obviously, the way EA works, it's like you get it as just part of Ultimate, but if you don't have Ultimate, the service is kind of good. Quite consistently bring their games to the service like a year later. You get access to quite a lot of games. You get a discount on like stores and EA games for like Apex Legends. You'll just get straight up a discount on the coins.
Yeah.
So it's not bad, and it's obviously great value just to cram into Ultimate. But this strikes me as like, unless Microsoft subsidize it, what they're going to make a Game Pass Ultimate. They're going to do something.
Yeah, it'll be yeah, it's an interesting one. Yeah, I feel like the only way it sort of works, it being beneficial to both parties, is having it like as a little bolt-on or like an extra tier or something like that. I'm not sure if Ubisoft, although then they're not going through the best state at the moment. I'm not sure if Ubisoft is going to be like, yeah, we'll just chuck everything in Games Pass, and yeah, they'll have like their store discounts for our games to service games, all that sort of stuff. We'll just bundle it into the fee that everyone's paying already. Like, and I get that they will still get like a percentage of that, based on Ubisoft games played with Games Pass subscribers and stuff like that. So potentially that is something that they like the look of. So I don't know. It's not. I don't think it's ridiculous to just see it just sort of morph its way into Games Pass, as it is, because it's not like we'll Games Pass subscribers like we just get all the Ubisoft games. It's like no, like we'll get some of them, and then we'll get discounts on newer ones, and then we'll get discounts on their games of service and stuff like that. So it's not like they're just chucking like a ton of free games in, like new games as well. And who knows, maybe they want this so Skull and Bones actually has a couple of people logged in on launch.
Yeah, at least 14. At least 14 people.
Imagine that. It just comes to Games Pass and it's still just dead on arrival. Like no one boots it up. I can still foresee it. Like, my God. I think that game has one of the biggest disasters written all over it I've seen in a while.
I do like the idea of like business execs turning up to like the shareholder meeting, like on the on their PowerPoint slide and being like, right, and projected user base is 14 players. Slide, and this is the estimated revenue. They're like, hang on a minute. What did you just say?
Could you go back a slide?
14? Yeah.
Or they like go through
like,
it. Like,
I think you're missing a couple of zeros.
Yeah, they just like go through it really quick. They're like, you'll get games like this, like Battlefield. I know Battlefield's EA, isn't it? I know. What's some Ubisoft ones? Like Assassin's Creed and stuff like that, right? Far Cry, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, they're like, you'll get games like this and this, and they're like going through the PowerPoint, and then they just go like skip over like Skull and Bones like really quick, like, and they just skip it, and they're like, what was that one? What was that one you went past really quick?
No, there wasn't one there. There wasn't one there. I think just an error, a glitch,
glitch in the PowerPoint, glitch Kremlin.
It's weird that. Yeah, it's so weird when that happens. It's weird because your glitch kind of looked like the game that we spent billions and billions of dollars on. It's really just a poor coincidence, I guess.
Yeah. You can always just go back and see if that glitch happens again. It's like, nah, we're quite tight for time. Let's just move on.
Yeah, it's funny, man. Because I also, like Ubisoft, they could just introduce it, not even as a Game Pass thing. Just there's a subscription part on the Xbox now and on PlayStation. I think there is as well. So I think clearly these platform holders are preparing for more publishers to just have their own subscriptions that are there. In the same way you subscribe to Game Pass, you subscribe to Ubisoft Plus.
Just sort of using it as like an advertising platform, get more clicks and people finding your Ubisoft subscription. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean. But yeah, I just mean that like they pay for Ubisoft Plus as a whole. Like it's not bundled into Game Pass. It's just there, $8.99 a month. You know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So that could be possible as well. So yeah, we'll see. I'm not really sure if I have anything else to add about that. But I guess the only other thing I had in mind was that if the Activision-Blizzard deal falls through, which we'll come around to at the end of the show, I bet that they pump out a subscription service in the next 18 months. ABK.
Okay. Oh, well, you think ABK will create their own subscription service, or you think they'll partner and just put it all into Games Pass? Just be like...
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. And it would be like Microsoft
I reckon
technically owns them anyway.
Something. Yeah, that's right.
Cheese it.
Yeah. All right. Next up, Microsoft reveals another controller. Yes, it was a.
Fuck's sake.
It's like the colors on it like wiggle around him. It's called Stellar Shift. It's a Stellar Shift Xbox controller, and honestly, Xbox needs to chill out pumping these out.
What do you mean?
I don't know who's in charge of this.
What do you mean the colors move on the controller?
The colors move, dude.
What is it like? Is it like heat based, like where your hands are?
I don't know. I don't know the science. It just says it says color shifting controllers. It's right there.
Oh yeah, it does say that. Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe it's not on like heat, like when you pour like tea into like one of those mugs and it like goes all like that. Maybe it's like the heat of your hands like morphs the colors around. I mean, I could see that being a thing. I mean, I don't know who the fuck's playing a game and just staring at their controller anyway instead of the screen, but
or hear me out. Or the whole controller is just a massive LCD panel. It's just a big LCD panel.
It's big. Yeah, this is why you should be an exec over at Xbox. Like that's kind of crazy.
Imagine what you could do with that, an LCD controller. Yeah, you could like have your name on it and the time, and it's like running down this handle, and then you have to like to see the time. You just have to move your thumb. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your notifications, your heart rate.
Yeah. Don't forget your
so
battery
much incredible
level.
stuff. It only lasts an hour, but you will look at all these features.
Yeah. Oh mate, don't even get me fucking started. I'll tell you what. Sony need to fucking improve the battery life on their controllers.
Yes.
It is so fucking shit. Like we genuinely, it's 4 hours. The controller lasts 4 hours. And you have no option to sleep it. So if you're like watching Netflix, you can't just like sleep the controller and it lasts longer. It's like it's just on and it just drains, and 4 hours later it's gone.
Yeah,
it's so bad. It's
actually
fucking awful.
I've got a bee in my bonnet about this. I've got a big old bee in my bloody bonnet about this. The the PlayStation Edge case, the fucking elite one.
Yeah.
With the paddles or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
IGN gave it a 9. They're like, it's brilliant. It's good. You can take the sticks out. There's 2 paddles, and it feels lovely. It's just like a normal one, but it's a bit better. Apart from the fact that it's $250, which is more expensive than an Elite controller. It's like $40 more expensive than an Elite controller. Just put it out there, and then they're like, it only lasts about 4 hours, but that's fine. 9 out of 10.
I have to charge my Xbox controller
like
once every 2 weeks. I mean, to be fair, there's a lot, the defects that come. I mean, they would have known that reviewing it.
There is.
Fair.
No, exactly, but they wouldn't have known that. Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, in hindsight, the 7 is reasonable, but they would have known that at the time.
Yes.
So,
no, exactly.
But yeah. I mean, I have to charge my Xbox controller like maybe once a week if I'm using it a lot. Like probably once every couple of weeks. Like fucking sometimes it's more than once a day. We have to swap out the PlayStation controller. Like that is just not acceptable. Like to me, that is just not acceptable. It's so fucking awful.
I mean, I don't know when it became like not important for controllers to have a good battery life. Like me personally, I like my controller to turn on.
Yeah,
just me. Maybe I'm old school. Maybe
Yeah,
old
it's
fashioned.
especially being wireless like these days and stuff like that. Fuck me, like oh my, it's so annoying. Like I would genuinely be so frustrated if we didn't have like two. I feel like if you're a PlayStation owner, you got to have like two controllers in rotation.
Yeah, if you're playing a lot, yeah.
Yeah, like that's just ridiculous. It's insane to me. But anyway, that was just like a little rant I just wanted to get off my head because like we've been playing
No,
like
I like it.
Hogwarts and stuff like that, and it's just like it just
Runs out.
it just runs out. Yeah, and
Yeah.
and it oh my I hate it. I hate it so much. Anyway,
It's stupid. I agree. Like when I've been playing when I was playing God of War, I had like multiple occasions where I was like, shit, my controller's running out of battery. I've literally never had that problem with an Xbox full stop.
no,
Since the 360. I've never had that problem ever.
no, yeah, agreed.
So bit weird.
9 out of 10.
Tim, it's random word break time. 9 out of 10.
Okay.
Let's do it. We're doing well for time, so we can do this. There's not all that much to talk about today, to be honest. Might as well be funny. Might as well be really funny.
But we just went on a random tangent and got angry at PlayStation controllers.
That is true, but I feel like we can really crack something open here. What if something really meaningful comes up and we break into your psyche in a way that everybody wants to see?
Holiday.
Yo, that's a good one. You going anywhere this year, Tim?
Yes, I might be going to Spain actually. I might be going to Alicante to visit some parents.
Alicante.
Yeah. Visit some parents? What did I just say? Visit
some parents.
Visit,
just any, really. Any I can find.
Visit my uncle, my family over in Spain, and I think it's going to be like a whole bunch of us. Like, with my uncle, like auntie, mum, dad, both brothers, all girlfriends, all that sort of thing. Just like a massive old shindig.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I think that's about it. To be honest, I don't think I have any plans to go away or do anything other than that.
I might be going to Spain next year, 2024. I mean,
You'll be going to Spain.
I might be, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
we're planning maybe a family holiday.
Yeah, I was about to say. I mean, surely it's
in-laws.
quite hard to travel, obviously with a baby so young at the moment. But I guess around there, Fox will be a little bit older, so it won't be too bad. But yeah, I guess like a year plus, on the baby, you could probably start to look to travel, and it'd still be a ball ache, but yeah.
Yeah, we're still ironing out details, but maybe.
I wonder how it must be so annoying for like a baby, and like I find like my ears really hurt after a plane. God, imagine a baby.
Yes.
Like they must just be screaming for fucking like hours, and they just don't know what's happening. They're like, why is my head hurt? Like, what is this?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking this the other day. I was like, well, babies obviously cry. That's what they do, and we like to think we know why. I get a lot of funny feelings that I don't tell anyone about. And I'm not being weird. I just mean like when I get a headache or like a growing pain. Do you know what I mean? And a baby's just like, why does my head hurt?
Yeah,
I'm gonna scream now until it stops.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. They have no idea what's going on, so they just cry, and they just want that figure in their life to help
Stop.
Yeah, just stop
Yeah.
this, whatever it is. Yeah.
I also really like the idea in principle of babies just crying because they're overtired. Fox does it all the time. That's so funny. Imagine getting into bed and being like after 5 minutes, just being like, because you can't fall asleep.
That'd be the best, dude.
It's
The
so
world
funny.
wouldn't function anymore because
it
adults,
wouldn't.
especially adults with children, are also constantly overtired. So your whole house would just be screaming constantly,
just at each other.
Oh god,
that's a good one. The Holiday was a good one.
that was a good.
Who's
one.
Amanda Holiday? Why's that coming to mind? Who's Amanda Holiday?
She's like an actress. She's like a Disney Channel actress or something, wasn't she?
No, she's from Destiny. I've got it. Oh, Disney actress.
Who am I thinking of?
I have no idea, dude. I knew it. I knew we could have something.
Oh shit. Yeah. I think I'm
Am I
thinking
right?
of. Yeah, you are. Yeah.
Amanda Holden.
Who am I thinking of?
You think
Am
of
I
Amanda
thinking of Holden?
Yeah. She's a.
Yeah,
I don't think she was at Disney though.
I thought she
Britain's
started.
Got Talent.
No, not Amanda Holden. There's someone else who played like. Hang on. Who is it? I need to figure this out.
I don't know. Yeah, no, it's fine.
Oh, I was thinking of Amanda Bynes. Whoops.
Oh.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking of.
Yeah, not her. But she could probably be in Destiny, maybe.
You know what came to mind for me was the holiday song by Dizzy. Is it Dizzy Rascal? Hey, a holiday, you can go to the club or hide away. You can do what you want to, baby. That one.
Baby. Yeah, it's a good one.
That's what came into my head. Like that was the first thing when I saw that song.
You should have said.
I saw that word.
Yeah, you should have just busted out.
You were like, "Where you going?" And I was just like, I wasn't thinking of Dizzy Rascal.
Yeah. All right, that was fun. Next up, Tim, we've got 2 Xbox first-party games now in a playable state. Isn't that fun? The first one is Fable. The second is Compulsion's game, Project Midnight, playable alpha, and we know this from LinkedIn posts, which is interesting, I think. So if we just start with Fable, they're still doing a lot of recruitment, which is like, I don't know. I guess devs continue to recruit up to games launch, but like Fable just still feels like it's a way off. I feel like that game's 25 at least.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen nothing but a title screen for it. Yeah, that game is 100% extremely early days, and it's still probably being drawn up in a lot of concepts. But they've just got the base, like mechanics down. Like how they want combat to work and stuff like that. And they probably built like a playable version of it, sort of thing. But that game's a way off. Yeah, at least a couple years, at least. I think 2025 is like a minimum.
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling about it as well. And I guess to be fair, I don't know if what I read indicated that it was just playable, full stop, as in like it works, or like if it's like playable from finish to end.
Oh no, it's probably just like playable. Like you're probably walking around as a white ball with a floating sword.
Just ship it.
Yeah, ship it. It's artistic.
Yeah, that's right.
People love that shit these days.
That would be me, like literally. That would be me.
Yeah.
I'd be like, what does it convey? What does it say about my soul?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Compulsion. Yeah, Project Midnight. We haven't heard anything about. This has got to be the next game that we see.
Which one?
I mean, I think there's a few, but like,
is this like the steampunk kind of one?
No, that's In Exile. All we know about Compulsion is like that it's like a dark fantasy, third-person game. And all we've seen, you might remember, is we saw some like art of some like harpies, some like harpy people.
Oh yes, yeah.
We looked at it ages and ages ago. But that's all we have, like some harpy people. So we know it's like kind of this dark fantasy thing. And we know the team is very excited about it. We know, Phil Spencer is particularly name dropped Compulsion. We've spoken. Some of the devs have like been on Twitter and said like this is easily the most exciting project I've ever been on. To that effect. So whatever they're doing, they're clearly excited about. A lot of people are very excited about, and I think we're all waiting for Compulsion to kind of prove themselves a little bit because they had a really good concept with We Happy Few, and they nailed a couple elements of it, the atmosphere. The concept, but maybe the loop wasn't the best. So this is like more budget pumped into it, maybe in a more popular genre. I'm excited to see this. And sorry to revisit what I was saying. This has got to be one of the next few things that we see from Xbox. I'm surprised we didn't see this last year, to be honest. But I guess they just have a lot to show.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. I mean, yeah, a playable alpha is, it's still early days, but it's not like it's not ridiculously early. You know, you could probably see this coming out, you know, probably around this time next year, maybe March, April, that sort of thing. You know, maybe just over a year away, something like that. I don't think you'll be seeing it this year, obviously. But yeah, no, it's very exciting, man. Yeah, Compulsion are clearly quite a creative and talented studio. You know, given the resources, you know, it's probably something they can nail. Like, definitely. So yeah, I'm excited to just get a concept of what it's going to be as well, and it'll be interesting to know whether or not it's going to be competing with something along the likes of like a Valve, though. If it's going to be like another dark fantasy RPG, and if it's just going to get like overshadowed, like that's a potential worry there. But yeah.
And I should know, because you said that like, you probably won't. Sorry, and I guess maybe clarify, when you were saying we probably won't see it till next year, do you mean as in we won't see it launch?
Oh no, yeah, I just meant see it as in play it in our hands. No, we'll see it in some form this year, probably.
I think
like
we'll
late this year. Yeah. My choice of words was just poor. Yeah.
And I suppose, just to like clarify on the information being given here, that from what the LinkedIn profile says, it's because you know how LinkedIn works. You do like an update of a job title, and then it gives you, so it'll say from like November 2021 to present, you know, and then it gives you, so for a year, in that period of time, November 2021 to present, this person updated their job description to say that they took the project from pre-production to playable alpha. So this could be fairly old news. Like, this could have happened in March 22, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And that would maybe make it by now kind of in the beta stage.
Yeah,
you know? So it depends on if this was like, you know, last month, then probably not. But like, I don't think it's impossible that we see that, like we actually see an end of year launch. I think it's unlikely, but I don't think it's impossible. It just depends how this kind of lines up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not impossible. But yeah.
Definitely think we see an announcement.
Yeah, 100%. We'll get a name, we'll get a trailer, we'll get probably some gameplay of some kind, like a nice little sizzle reel. But I think realistically, we're probably looking around more this sort of time next year for an actual release drop. But who the fuck knows? Because we got fucking Hi-Fi Rush out of nowhere, so I'm on the edge of my seat constantly now, I guess.
Oh, so you finished that? You should give us a quick rundown of like how that kind of.
Oh,
finish it now.
Yeah, I forgot I finished that actually between the last show and this show. Yeah, I mean, my feelings hadn't really changed on it. You know, I thought it was a banger from start to finish. The last couple levels were pretty exceptional. Spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, the one with the finance guy. And you're going through like his tower to the top of his office, and then the fight. Which, by the way, that fight with that giant robot wolf was really quite difficult. Like multi stages.
I didn't find that too hard.
See, how weird that it just differs.
I did a second try.
Yeah, I died on his second stage, and I died. And it's nice actually. I'll give him credit that you don't have to do the boss fight. From the start again, you know, like if you do one segment, you just start at that second phase again, which I do really like. There's nothing worse in games that it kind of annoys me in Souls-like games sometimes, where like the multiple forms and you have to just do that basic form again to then get to the point where it's really hard. You know, and it can be a bit annoying. So I quite like that. But yeah, I did fail on his second one and then beat it. And then I failed on the last stage where you fight him in the gold pit as well, and then came back with full health and beat him. So yeah, he managed to KO me a few times. He was quite tough. But really cool fight. Like
the invaders must die. Oh, invaders must die scene when you fire out of the cannon and you get to the.
Oh yeah,
invaders must die.
Yeah, that was incredible. Yeah, that whole thing was really good. That I just, the script in this game was just really good as well. Like just like the humor was just great. Like Chai is just so lovable as a character. And yeah, I mean, after seeing him from start to finish, yeah, he could potentially be some mascot material there. Especially with 808, his little cat sidekick, which was hilarious, by the way, when you played as 808.
Yeah,
When
he
he
just
got
like
that
slapped.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so good. Yeah, it was just really good, man. The last two stages were some of the best content in the game. 100%. It finished very strong. Yeah.
It was definitely one of my favorite levels. You know, like just before the final fight, you have like a kind of team up level, and you're
Yeah.
against the mech. And Whirring by the Joy Formidable is playing. I didn't know who that was, the thing, but you know that song's gone straight into my playlist. And it was like it's like quite heavy rock. It's like I'm not. So like quite heavy guitar riffs at the end when you're like wailing on some of the enemies. It's just so good. And then you like play Cinnamon and he jumps down and he's like, "This is fun. I can see why you do this."
Yeah.
And he like picks up part of a cannon. It's great. It's just funny. It's just good scripts. You're right. Yeah. It's just good writing.
Yeah, Cinnamon was such a legend. Yeah. And yeah, when he's all like sitting broken on the floor and stuff like that, Chai's literally just like, yeah, it's just like really like when he's just like, am I gonna make it? Chai was like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah, looking pretty bad. Don't have any limbs.
Yeah, no, it was really good, man. Yeah, I'm really tempted to give it like a 9. But I'm gonna stick with my 8.5. Really fucking excellent game. One of the best games I played for a very long time. I don't really like I said, I was kind of happy when I did like get done with it. Like I'm not the sort of person that tends to replay games on harder difficulties anyway. Like only specific games that I'm very fond of, like Final Fantasy or Devil May Cry or something like that. I'll play it through multiple times. So I don't think I'm going to go back and do it on a hard difficulty or check out any of the rooms or anything like that. But yeah, no, it was definitely an excellent game. Yeah, really, really good.
Excellent. Happy to hear it. Yeah. Cool. And you know, if anything, actually, you know, it makes shot up because like, if we were gonna, we should probably do it again this year. Hang on, when did we do the first one? Did we miss it last year? I said we were going to do like a yearly tier list, and did we fucking forget?
No. What of games?
Of Xbox first party studios.
We did one last year. We just didn't do it at the end of
last
the year.
Was it?
It was definitely last year. We did it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was.
In my head, it was in 2021.
No, because we did it. I was here in this room, like in Tilly's office doing it. So it must have been last year sometime. Yeah, we went through the studios and stuff like that. Yeah, I think it'd be kind of cool just to do a tier list of like just kind of games as well. I think that'd be kind of cool. But then obviously, maybe we both play games that are like, for example, like if you don't get around to playing Midnight Suns like this year or something like that, you know, but I have, the tier list doesn't really make any sense. You haven't played it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's on the board. I mean, like it's on the card. So we just have to define what we're looking at. You know, like what we do in every game ever. Do you know what I mean? Let's say. Yeah. But yeah, maybe it'd be interesting to do it again in the run up to E3 because to come full circle into my point, Tango Gameworks has kind of shot up like in everyone's books like out of nowhere because obviously they were like everybody quite liked Tango stuff, but like they're quite niche, you know, with the horror stuff that they did. The second Evil Within wasn't received as warmly as the first. But Hi-Fi Rush was kind of shocked. Was like, oh, hang on a minute.
Was it not?
No.
I thought the second Evil Within was received better than the first.
Okay, maybe I'm getting my wires crossed. I know one of them wasn't received as well as the others. I thought in my head it was the second, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was that way around. I haven't played them, so it's better. But nonetheless, yeah, everybody's like, hang on a minute, this is a versatile studio. What the fuck? What were you doing making a rhythm action game? What's this about? Oh, an anime. What are you doing? So. And obviously, Ghostwire, I guess, as well, maybe underperformed a little bit. It's still got like high 70s. It's not like it was a bad game by any stretch. But they make some unique games, that's for sure. But all of a sudden, this 90 Game of the Year contender has made people be like, oh.
Definitely, yeah. And it's well deserved as well, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. So before we leave this topic in the rearview mirror, Tim, talk about the Fable and Propulsion being in a playable state. There's just an interesting parallel here about as someone who's been watching a lot of Hogwarts and maybe been playing a bit as well. Is Hogwarts got the same sort of atmosphere you want from a Fable game? Because really, this is the first, really, I think, UK big action RPG that we've had in a long time, right? Has it got the humor down? Has it got the vibe down? Is it like exactly what you'd want from a Fable? Or would you want a bit more comedy or a bit like the same sort of tone? Tell me about it.
I think I'd like a bit more of a comedy, like high tone for Fable. Like Hogwarts is kind of just, yeah. Some of the dialogue doesn't really interest me. Like it can be a bit boring sometimes. It's just you as a posh student just talking to your teachers, and your teachers like, "Oh, excellent. Oh, yeah, you're doing magnificent in your studies. You know, go collect these potions and stuff like that." It's not as goofy as I would like Fable to be. And I definitely think that Fable could do a better job with its enemy variety as well. You know, it's one of the things I hear it's heavily criticized on Hogwarts is its enemy variety. There's really not much going on there. And again, you know, I've noticed that a little bit. You know, watching it be played, it's kind of like, yeah, it's like armored suits, spiders, goblins, or wizards. It's basically all you're fighting. You know, you might get a troll every now and again or something like that, but that's a very rare sight. So yeah, but I mean, I think in terms of the world, you know, how it looks and stuff like that, it's not far off what I would like Fable to look like and how I'd envision it. You know, being a nice, you know, quite lush, quite green sort of world, you know, cool structures, cool landmarks, you know, all that sort of stuff, you know. I quite like Fable to have a similar traversal mechanic. It'd be kind of cool to like, you know, have something you could fly on or ride around on quite quick, you know, through the open space, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, no, in some ways, yes, but in dialogue, characters, and like creature design and stuff like that, I think I would like Fable to do a little bit more. Just take it up a level, I think.
That was very well articulated too.
Thanks, man.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I think that's really interesting. Here you are. Yes, it's like you've been doing a podcast for
88 episodes.
Yeah, no, good. That's good to hear. I think that's just a really interesting little thing that I haven't seen many people draw, you know, parallels between. Because I think the tone is something that a lot of people have been like, oh, I want Fable to be like a lot darker in tone, but it's like, trust me, by the time we get to Fable coming out, you're going to be sick of Xbox pumping out dark fantasy.
Yeah,
you know, there's going to be Hellblade, there's going to be Avowed, there's going to be Project Midnight. You know, the list goes on and on. So trust me, you're going to want a palate cleanser. And you know, I'm okay with Fable being a bit more conventional. No, not what's the word I'm looking for? Contemporary, like in terms of like you aren't just running around farting on chickens. Like it's like, okay, maybe that's like,
yeah,
you know, that was maybe a 2000s thing, and we don't, you know, but yeah, I'm okay with it being a lot more lighthearted in tone.
Yeah, you could still have your dark choices and stuff like that, but just make them a bit goofy and a bit funny. You know, it doesn't just need to be like, you know, oh, help this woman out or stab her 37 times in the chest and curse her family heritage.
Like, yeah, that's it.
You don't need to do that.
You saying traversal mechanic? I don't know why this sprung to mind, but it got me thinking about. Do you remember the hoverboard in Jack 3? Maybe it was Jack 2.
No, it was Jack. Jack 2 had like cars and stuff. It was like the more city-based one.
Yeah.
But Jack 3, I think, had the hoverboard on like the desert and stuff like that. Yeah.
Wasn't that sick? I remember like my mind being like blown at that. I was like, I can just hoverboard around the place, and you could do tricks. I think you could like grind or something, just to traverse around. It's really cool.
Yeah, it is. It was absolutely sick, man. I think, yeah. I mean, I don't really know. I can't really think back to that era and wonder if that was something that the game kind of did first, or if it just like adopted it from other games. But yeah, no, it was really cool, man. Yeah, there's a lot to putting in a traversal mechanic in a game. Like it's not just a way of getting around. Like it opens up the game as well to you. Like there are points where, like, yes, we could have fast traveled, but I would rather hop on my broom or hop on my fucking hippogriff and fly around and be like, oh, what's that beneath me, and then go do it. You know, it's like a little point of interest or something like that, and it's just quite pretty just to fly around and you know, see the world, especially as the game has like seasons as well. Like we've just like approached like an autumn season, so everything's like brown and falling and leaves all orange and shit, and it just looks so much different when we started the game. Yeah, no, there's a lot to a traversal mechanic. It's not just as simple as getting from point A to B. It can open up the game and add a lot of hours on.
I think it comes to think of it, I don't think not that many games have had interesting traversal mechanics in like the last
Mainly
two
just hop on a
generations.
horse. Yeah, most of them.
Yeah, like because they've been more grounded, right? And I think this is the advantage of having a bit more musical or funny. Like even like Harry Potter. I mean, I don't know what the traversal was like, I'm down on a broom or whatever, but like I think that's the advantage. Like if you're doing dark fantasy, it's like this is very real, you know, and there's no flying because flying is fun. There's no death when you fly.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially with open world games. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see.
I think Zelda might do a good job at that. The new Zelda, by the way, that you can like do shit with your.
That's true. Yeah.
You can like nuts and bolts. Zelda, was it? I
nuts
said
and bolts did it first.
Yeah, I said nuts and rupees, but I should have said like Deku nuts and rupees.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, no, it's yeah, that could do a really cool job with traversal. That could be very interesting.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, wonderful. All right, so we've got a couple of stories left. A bit of a minor one here, but it's a bit of an opportunity for me to speak, I suppose, about because I just hopped into it. Is that Halo got a kind of surprise? You know, they had a bit of an update and they did a surprise Community Forge playlist, which is a bigger deal than you might think. It's just a playlist with like 6 new maps in, just 6 new maps out of nowhere. You know, all the normal game modes are in it, but it's on new maps made in Forge. And do you know what? I was really impressed. These are some good maps. Some of them are remakes, some of them are remasters, some of them are like just brand new maps. And you cannot tell that these are made by the community. Like you straight up can't. And if that was the mission, you know, if that was the mission objective of Forge, then mission accomplished.
Wow.
It was I just thought I'd give it a go because it came out with a little, you know, event at the I'll give it a go, see where we're at. I know there's been a couple of balance changes, things like that. Whatever, you know, just give it a go. And you know, I just was enjoying myself. I don't know. I'll tell you, I haven't been going crazy with it, but I finished the event pass because you know they've made it all streamlined now. Get XP based how you perform if you're on the winning team, things like that. So it's just a good experience. I think if they keep this up, I could see myself coming back every now and then, you know, until they get to like a really, really healthy place. But this is a good place to be. Like if they could dump in, and especially maybe if they can move some of these maps into like the public playlist as well. These don't need to be defined as community playlists. You know, just add them to the pool. They're really good. They're good maps. Pretty as well. You forget how pretty the multiplayer for Infinite is. To be honest, I don't. Is that an unpopular opinion, Tim? That Halo multiplayer looks really good and crisp and nice.
I do think it's very overlooked. I think generally people do not look at the graphics of a game like Halo multiplayer. No, definitely not. And yeah, no, it's really nice. Yeah, the lighting is always so like phenomenal in the Halo multiplayer maps. Yeah, 100%. And you know, it's exciting to hear about Halo. You know, I'm always excited to hear positive things and see them take a step in the right direction. So yeah, hopefully they do morph these into the public playlist because, fuck me, is there a map drought? Just like God, I just I would just appreciate playing something different. If I were to hop on, I don't care if it's community made or not, especially if you can't even tell the freaking difference. So yeah.
There is a handful more than though. I think there's like maybe 4 more arena dev maps until we lost paid, and there's like I think maybe 3 more BTB maps or something like that. With more, I think there's a handful more coming in season 3, which is March, and hopefully that will mark kind of the rejuvenation really of the game in terms of its player base.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. Yeah. And with us, with Overwatch potentially slowing down with the friends and all that sort of stuff, maybe it will be a nice rejuvenation, and maybe we will go back to it. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, by all means, I would encourage everyone to just hop on and have a game or two. Still feels as good as it did on day one. And that new maps do help with the feeling of novelty, and there's been balance changes. And they're picking up the speed on these balance changes as well. Because that was one of the things that annoyed me about the year-long drought, is they didn't fucking balance anything for like 8 months, and it's like you can't do that. But anyway,
Yeah.
And then obviously with March, there's other things kind of starting to get into the sandbox, new weapon, new equipment. There might even be more if the files are to be believed. There's like actual substantial like narrative things coming rather than what we had before. And this event, they pulled out some Reach, so it's called Noble Intention, because they pulled out some Reach characters that were left on the cutting room floor back from Halo Reach, and like they exist in the Halo universe, but they were on the cutting room floor, I think. So correct me if I'm wrong, chat. For the actual original Noble team, so like they're actual characters, which is just quite cool. They bring them back, and you get the cores for them and stuff like that.
That is cool. Yeah, I do like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So just thought I'd mention it. Bit of fun. And good luck to the team sort of trying to bring that back starting next month, really, with season 3. I think it will get more traction than maybe people are accounting for. Like now, especially with the reboot and the layoffs, I think people are going to have a bit more of a clean slate, a blank slate in their head around the game. So
yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Okay. Final 2 bits then. We've got, you might remember me telling you last week, Microsoft gave Sony a subpoena. They were like, we want to see your documents, fam. Hand them over. We want to see what you got in the cupboards. We need to see them so we can explain to, you're allowed to do that. They've delayed it twice. They're like, no, we can't possibly do these things in the time that Microsoft have given us. It got to the end of that time, and then Sony were like, no, we're not going to do it. This is harassment. They said in their official report to the FTC, they were like, Microsoft is clearly harassing us here.
Oh,
yeah. And you might think that's funny. But actually, do you know what? I had a look at what Microsoft are requesting. It's a bit stupid. It's a bit. There are 7 executives at PlayStation. I don't know what that has to do with anything.
Oh, okay. So it was kind of outrageous then, was it? What Microsoft was kind of looking for?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, to call it harassment is much, but I'm sure Microsoft has a reason. But to me, as an outsider, trying to see the targets of the last 7 executives seems a bit irrelevant.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess that's kind of fair enough. Almost.
But at the same time, it's still that thing of like, what are you hiding over there? So don't you want to share? I mean, if it's nothing to hide,
Yeah, true. Yeah. I mean, it's Sony. They're hiding stuff, obviously, aren't they? It's in their nature.
Yes. Yeah.
Snakes.
Yes, little snakes. And all of that obviously ties into the last story, which was around the CMA Phase 2 findings that the ABK deal could harm gamers. I messaged you about this midweek, didn't I, Tim?
Yeah, thanks for ruining my week.
Yeah, sorry, dude. It was not intentional. Nothing personal. It's just where we're at. So just to quote like what they've kind of said, so we're all on the same page. But just in case you haven't hear it here. In-depth independent investigation provisionally finds deal raises concerns about cloud and console gaming. The merger can make Microsoft even stronger in cloud gaming, stifling competition in this growing market and harming gamers who afford expensive consoles. Sus. Deal could also harm UK gamers by weakening the important rivalry between Xbox and PlayStation gaming consoles. Okay. First impressions, young Timothy.
God, I don't really think that the deal is particularly going to affect cloud too much. I mean, obviously it will, but I think in that regard, I feel like we have a pretty clear lead already in that sort of industry and that sort of sector of cloud gaming. And I think if we can't get it through ABK, we'll still be able to have that lead sort of without them, just using our internal already owned studios or something else. Like I don't really think that particularly comes into mind for me. That one, but and what's the other one? Merger, Microsoft. Oh yeah, it's cloud gaming. UK gamers who cannot afford. Stifling competition in the growing market and harming UK gamers who cannot afford expensive consoles. What does that mean? How's that hurting gamers being able to access anything from anywhere?
You're not the only one a little bit confused about this one. It might be worth putting on the screen actually, just so viewers can read it while we talk about it.
Sure.
So it seems weird to be saying that that's a problem. These two things are even related. These things being one, being stronger in cloud gaming, and two, that somehow is connected to gamers not being able to access expensive consoles. So I guess the first thing is that, yes, it seems like a weird point to make. Essentially, the CMA is saying, this could make Xbox really, really strong in cloud gaming, and that's a concern to us. Obviously, that's a bit weird as Xbox gamers because we know that Xbox is currently the most accessible platform. Really low game. Ultimate gives you access to cloud gaming on not just consoles, but also on PC, on TVs, for God's sake, on the Steam Deck, on multiple platforms you can get access to these games. So it seems like a weird thing to be bringing up. Oh yeah, expensive consoles, but Xbox's whole thing is that you don't have to buy the console.
Yeah.
Charitably, we could try and interpret that to mean that there are people out there who rely solely on cloud streaming. And those people that do are being put at risk if Xbox becomes a dominant force in cloud gaming. See what I mean? If Xbox become a cloud monopoly because they have so many IP and nobody can even touch them. And so if there are I say hypothetical, maybe there is. If there's a group of people who just use cloud streaming and they can't afford console gaming, and that's why they use cloud streaming. This could negatively impact that group of people. Charitably, you can interpret it to mean that, which I still think is silly because who the fuck is out there relying on cloud streaming? That's not the trajectory that we're on. Everybody knows cloud streaming. Like Stadia just died. Stadia just died.
It's like an additional thing, isn't it? It's like an extra service on top of like a PC or something like that. I mean, I guess another competitor that comes to mind is probably like the Nvidia one, isn't it? The GeForce Now or something.
It's GeForce Now. Yeah.
But I feel like Microsoft also, again, this is just assuming they're going to be charitable if they are a monopoly. They've been quite good at sort of not necessarily edging out competition, but sort of working with them and realizing they can also benefit from them. Create a partnership. Let's work with Nvidia, GeForce, and let's get our games on there, and they can get some of their games on our service as well and stuff like that. I mean, again, that's assuming Xbox will play Mr. Nice Guy because they have in the past. Who knows? But yeah, I think this is a massive stretch. Massive stretch.
I know, and it just seems like so many what ifs, and I guess that's kind of your job as a regulator, those high calls, but it's like, oh yeah, in the future when we get to a place where people are relying on cloud services, Xbox might be dominant in that, but it's like, are there any indications that we're going to get to that stage? I mean, maybe it's like people keep saying as 5G rolls out, cloud gaming will get better and things like that. But it's like you're still streaming from a data center, and that's fundamentally what cloud is. So there's always going to be a latency. So in my mind, I don't see how that's ever going to replace native gaming. I don't see. Is there any precedent for you moving in that direction? I mean, if there was, then maybe CMA has a point, but they don't seem to indicate that is. They're just like, oh, if it does, then Xbox could be all powerful in this space.
Yeah.
Because you are right. Ultimately there aren't actually that many competitors. Like there's GeoForce now. I think there's a couple of other things, but they're not a big deal. And it, obviously it can draw on its user base to have more people involved, essentially. So it's just a bit of a cute hypotheticals.
Yeah, they're extremely hypothetical. Yeah, and it's just they're kind of very loosely based on kind of nothing as well. It's just like, well, yeah, it's just like, what if fucking Skynet happens? Yeah, I guess.
What if? Yeah,
it's just like, come on, like you're stretching here. You really are stretching. Yeah, it very much seems like they're just kind of trying to find anything there can be a decent argument against, even if it's not necessarily completely aligned. It's a weird one. It doesn't make too much sense to me. And I mean, even literally just reading it, I was trying to make sense of it. I was like, what did that say? I was like, that doesn't, I don't get that. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure if I did that, a lot of other people have, and I don't know how they sort of, publicly sort of made these statements. But yeah,
that's right. And then I think like the CMA keeps kind of idea that Xbox has bought studios and has made some games exclusive. Keep saying that like it's an indication that if Xbox is allowed to do anything, well, they're probably going to be turbo aggressive with all of it, which is going to result in problems. But like they keep saying this, and Microsoft keeps saying, well, firstly, I don't even understand the problem with it in principle. It's like you've never had a problem with this before. You haven't intervened with any other acquisitions, like in the gaming space, where that like stuff is just bought, stuff is money hatted. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm so confused at this idea of like this is suddenly a problem. Like it's no secret that it's no secret that PlayStation has been particularly aggressive with exclusivity. They haven't bought the studios, but they've locked stuff up permanently or for years and years and years. And it's like, it's not even in the discussion here. But all of a sudden, if Xbox buys a company and retains something, that's a real problem. And and then they always ignore the fucking stuff, all the stuff they're really charitable with, like keeping ESO multi-plat, Fallout 76 flat, because as Microsoft explained, it doesn't make business sense to strip them away. And then they said that the same for a lot of the properties they're acquiring here, particularly Call of Duty. So it remains a bit of a frustrating thing because it does seem that there is still a bit of misunderstanding. I feel like there's still a bit of misunderstanding. But they have said, however, that they haven't yet considered, these are their findings, and they haven't yet taken into account the 10-year promises that Xbox have made. They said they haven't factored that in yet, so that comes next, because and that's sort of the second part of the topic here, Tim, which is around the remedies that the CMA is suggesting for Xbox. And I think this is why I messaged you about. So they've either said, like, look, these are some possible structural remedies that you can make, either structural or behavioral. Behavioral is sort of, what Xbox will say that they'll do after the fact to make it a bit better. Structural is like how we intervene with the deal so that it has, at its root, so that it possibly sprout into something bigger in the future.
Yeah.
And the three solutions they have identified is the divestiture. It's a word I've never seen until last week, but it essentially means selling.
Yeah.
Right, during an acquisition, it means selling. So the selling of the business associated with Call of Duty, that's option number one. The selling of the whole Activision segment of Activision-Blizzard, including COD. And the third is the selling of the Activision segment and the Blizzard segment, so obviously including Call of Duty and World of Warcraft, leaving Xbox with just King. Don't forget about King.
Okay.
And I just thought that was kind of some interesting remedies to be suggesting, because it's what do you think they're doing this for?
Yeah, I mean, number 3, I don't think King's worth
It's ridiculous.
70 bill. But number 3.
Well, they'd make back on it. They'd make money back on it because they'd sell them off. Yeah,
it was half a joke.
yeah.
Number 3 is absurd, and I don't know how that actually made it onto paper. And again, I just don't. But what do you define? Why does it need to be a full sell? Like why does it need to be a complete, like, just axe off? Like, you can't have Call of Duty, you can't have Activision. Like, you know, what's wrong with the remedies that have been put in place with just sharing and having some small exclusive and incentive to play it on a specific platform, but it's still completely optional for the user base. Like, there's still a substantial amount of people that play Call of Duty on Xbox, even though PlayStation have, you know, the like extra content and advertising rights and all that sort of stuff. So, like, I don't get it. Like, why does it have to be such a clean cut? Like, axe this off. That's the only way. Seems a bit drastic to me, but
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's because the CMI are really opposed to behavioural remedies that they don't, and it's the reason for that arguably because they keep harping on this buy stuff and then make it exclusive. You know, they're like, oh, the upcoming games Redfall and Starfield are going to be exclusive, even though they said they wouldn't do that. And it's like they didn't. Nobody said that. It's like, I don't know even, and I don't even know if that's been addressed. Like some of the stuff they've said in previous, I guess they've just taken PR statements and, you know, interpreted them in particular ways. But yeah, the selling, and I mean, would this be like, if we think about it from our point of view, we'd probably be happy with number 2 there, wouldn't we? I'd be happy with Activision and Call of Duty just being sold off just so they could keep Blizzard. I know, you know, if they want King, they can have King, but yeah, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, I'd be happy with that. Yeah, I mean, I'd be more happy with number 1. Like, just get rid of Call of Duty, and then we keep what else Activision does. Which in everyone's eyes is not really too much else aside from Call of Duty.
There's talented teams there as well.
Yeah, but like, yeah, just get rid of COD. Fuck it, they can have COD. I mean, personally, like, I know it's a lot of money, and I know, like, that's a big deal, but like, I'd rather, like you said, have the talented studios that come with Activision, and I'm much more of a fan of the Blizzard side of this deal anyway. So yeah, I mean, just axe off Call of Duty if it means the deal going through. And I still don't see a problem with the remedies that's been presented and just, you know, cooperatively working with PlayStation on Call of Duty and stuff like that, you know. But if it needs to be that drastic, then yeah, number 1 is the best option. I think it's the most appealing, probably in Xbox's eyes.
Yeah, and it's just, I wonder if they would bite a deal like that if they were willing to cut off Call of Duty, because ultimately I just can't see it. That's got to be like one of the main points of all of this, so they can own it and just funnel in the revenue, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, that's a massive punch to take, and especially with fighting for so long and stuff like that, you know, it does kind of feel like you're kind of just laying down and dying, sort of thing, and letting them get their way. It's definitely not something they want to do. Yeah,
because I have a really funny feeling that if, you know, after this, Xbox, Microsoft are going to pitch their behavioral remedies. You know, they're going to try and come to a deal essentially where they and everything. You know, I don't feel that that's like outlandish speculation. That's what they're going to try and do. But if the CMA are like, no, we can't see any solution here where we're keeping Call of Duty, you need to sell it off if you want this deal. If Xbox then decide to cut the deal or just like drop it, I'd be disappointed. I'd be like, you're this close to owning all of those studios and Blizzard, and you just stopped. Like, that's crazy to me, because Blizzard plugs so many holes that Xbox needs, not just strategically, but what they've kind of have said to us in PR, you know, from Phil Spencer, etc. You know, like Blizzard do a lot of the PG games. They have these cartoony games that have like really good for like younger players, which the other Xbox IP properties just don't have, really. You know, maybe Hi-Fi, I guess, but that's, you know, that's not quite at the same level. and maybe Fable, I suppose. But you know what I'm getting at, and also that a lot of Blizzard games have really good player diversity. Like Overwatch has one of the highest female player bases in like all of gaming because they're really good with representation and diversity over there. And the style of game, it's a bit cartoony, it's a bit team based, it's not too hardcore, and all of that stuff would really help the brand. And so from the strategic point, I just think it'd be really disappointing. And obviously, personally, for the two of us, it would be disappointing because we like a lot of those properties. We like those Blizzard teams. So we'll see, man. But I'm just like, I hope they don't, like you say, just lie down and give up. If they say you have to sell off Call of Duty.
No. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the next part of this is to come out with the whole like remedies that have been suggested so far, taking into account the 10-year thing and whether or not they think that's reasonable enough. But, odds are probably not if these are the suggestions they've made without even taking that into account. It already hasn't met that criteria that they want it to. So, I don't know, man. It would be a shame to just see them to see Xbox just lay down and sort of, because at this point it's almost personal, right? It's just like, for fuck's sake,
yeah,
like what is wrong with you guys? We've offered some pretty nice fucking solutions here. You're really you're just pushing the boat here. And it'd be interesting to be like, okay, fine, you get rid of Call of Duty from the Activision-Blizzard and stuff like that, and then they just become their own thing, right? Their own this is the studios that make it. They're not associated with Activision anymore or Blizzard anymore. Fucking Sony are probably going to try and buy them. Like, is that going to be allowed just because it's not a 70 billion deal? It's only like it's a less deal, in terms of money and scale, fucking hell. I wouldn't be surprised. And if that shit gets let through, I'll Molotov the fucking HQ.
So this is the thing, right? So they did stipulate, because I was thinking the same thing. I was like, the regulatory body.
Sorry, you just had like you're gonna need to say everything again just in case that didn't come through on stream. Yeah.
Okay. So I thought the same thing. Like they would have to sell it off, and like be a moderated selling. Like Xbox couldn't pick and choose who they wanted to sell to for competition reasons. And like what if Sony bought? But it is stipulated that neither of the participants would be involved in that. So that's fine. However, what do you think would happen in a hypothetical Call of Duty selling situation? You got your Tencents, your Ubisofts, your EAs. They're the only candidates, really. Warner Brothers, maybe. There's not that many who would buy it. So one of them would, and I'm sure they'd all be itching to do it. If Tencent buys it, say goodbye to that franchise.
Yeah.
Because it would just be turned into a worse like money machine than it already is.
Mm-hmm.
And also, no matter who buys it, do you know what happens? Sony buys a marketing deal.
Yeah.
Sony buys timed exclusivity.
Mm-hmm.
Sony buys extra game mode locked to their console for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Sony buys create a class exclusivity.
Yeah.
Sony says can't be on Game Pass. Can't be on Game Pass, can only be on PlayStation Plus. The same fucking thing happens, but worse. Just this is my frustration. Like, I haven't seen anything in any of these documents that like stipulates that after this process, Call of Duty will be more closely monitored because clearly it's such a powerful IP. 24% of PlayStation players said in our survey that they would go to wherever Call of Duty is. Definitely not a biased report. It's definitely not like those gamers are the ones that are going to PlayStation anyway because it's front loaded with exclusive content. Yeah. They're definitely not confounded data there at all. Like, so that's my problem. It's like Sony are already hyper aggressive with this, and if you just let this get sold off, we're just going to be back to square one. Exactly. And arguably, these timed exclusivity things that Sony does are more aggressive than what Xbox would ever do in a worst case scenario.
Probably, yeah. And it's just
at least in the next 10 years.
And it's just interesting to see how hypothetical they're being in their arguments against Xbox. owning this IP, and they're like, oh, cloud, all this, and stretching to points that don't even necessarily like relate. But then it's just like, well, if you're going to be hypothetical about it, let's hypothetically think what happens if Xbox do axe off Call of Duty and everything we've been saying, and what's going to happen to it there. Like, why can't we be hypothetical and look into it from that perspective as well? And yeah, if you do, you come to the conclusion that it's probably just, it's going to get worse. So yeah.
Yeah, it's happening right now. It's like, if you're worried about exclusivity, that's concrete. Like, do you know what I mean? And I know that, like, sometimes we can be a bit funny when we're assessing this because it's like, oh, they're not talking about PlayStation, but it's not their job. Their job right to focus on the deal. But that's my problem. Like, here they're being very hypothetical with what could happen, what might happen, and it's like this whole timed exclusivity thing just isn't factored as a. Even though they've mentioned it, they called it partial foreclosure. Before in previous documents, but there's no mention of like how it might affect the market or the competition if the leading console manufacturer, after, especially with the earnings report we just had, where PlayStation are like, selling loads and Xbox were down, if that brand continues to now just let this Call of Duty get sold off and then just buy timed exclusivity over and over again, it's like,
yeah.
Like, it's already happening. It's happening now.
Yeah.
So I just feel like behavioral remedies feel fair. They feel fair. And
it's weird that in everything that's happening and like revenue and selling stats and everything, it's weird that Xbox is still seen as the Goliath in this David and Goliath story. And I don't know why, because they're not doing as well. They're not as profitable, and like, I just don't get it. Like, why are we the big bads? Like, it makes no sense to me.
And the cloud thing is also frustrating, but because of the again, a hypothetical conversation we were having, like, Xbox have been ahead of the curve with cloud for the first time in a long time. It's like trying to get too far ahead of the curve and then they fuck up, whether it's AR or it's Connect, something, always online, the home devices in your house with Connect, I guess is what I'm saying. But for the first time, they're on it with cloud, and cloud is gaining, users year on year. And that's what they've been investing into, and Xbox has as well. A good chunk of that money has gone towards that and not towards first party IP, first party investment. Clearly a lot has, but you know what I'm saying? A part of the pie hasn't gone towards that. For Sony, they haven't bothered with cloud. They've gone like, nope, all of our money is going to our first party IP, and that's going to sell us consoles. We'll put a bit of money into VR too, maybe. We'll experiment with that and see how that goes. But no, all our money's going there. And now we're at this kind of tipping point where Xbox are on the verge of really capitalizing on all this work they've done with cloud. But the regulators are like, nope, you're too far ahead in this area.
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean? It's not their fault that everybody's decided to wank off of VR, that 6 people are going to. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
It just feels unnecessarily punishing.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Yeah, they shouldn't be punished for realizing the potential in something and investing money into it and slowing down in other areas to have this long play pay off. It's kind of ridiculous that that's now a negative in these acquisitions moving forward. Like, it has nothing to do with it. Like, I go back to my first point. It really just has nothing to do with it. Like, it's crazy to me.
Yeah, and it goes back to what I understand the other side of it, that just because someone is first doesn't mean that they are immune from regulatory moderation. But it's more, the problem to me is just how unrounded this all is. That it's like, we've never had any concerns in the game market, in the game industry. It could be a problem. Someone being too far ahead. That's my overall problem. And as I've said this before, that's my overall problem with the whole thing. It's like, it seems ridiculous that now all of a sudden you're concerned. And I understand it's a big deal, but you're concerned with things that have been going on for a long time. Now that I will benefit from it, you're like, nah, this is a problem. It's just so fucking. And actually, and it's entirely my belief that this will be beneficial overall.
Yeah, I think so.
So,
yeah. And even from just a not biased standpoint, I feel like we've looked at it from every possible angle, and even hypothetically, I do think it just makes sense. Like I do think overall it's going to benefit a lot more gamers and moving forward, and definitely the company itself, Blizzard and Activision, because God knows what state they're going to be if this doesn't go through. So yeah,
they'll be an absolute shambles. So yeah, that's it. There was some more stuff that pointless to try and cover it exhaustively, but that's kind of the gist. We will see. I think we are coming. I think the saga is. We're in the final chapter because I think if the CMA agree, I think the EU follows. If the CMA object, I think the EU follows. So we'll see what those remedies end up being, and if this nightmare finally comes to a fucking end.
Yeah, hopefully.
Woohoo.
I fucking hope so. Hopefully it comes to a good end as well. Not a fucking bad one.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's it. All right then, squad. That does it for today's episode. Video, but if you're there, if you're still here now, please do so. Please consider subscribing. Follow us over on Twitter. It's all down in the description. It's been wonderful having you here.
It truly has been.
Yeah, that's it. We'll be back next week.
Yeah. This time next week. Leave a comment if you want it at a different time. We know we're kind of still thinking about this while the outro plays. So do let us know. Be vocal. With what kind of time fits you, because we can adapt it around our day. If we get some notice on it, because I know a lot of you guys prefer it when we do it in the evening. But yeah, leave a comment. Why not?
Yeah, I'm open to being flexible. Do you like this length of show as well?
Well, it's still almost 2
we
hours.
look good?
We're not too far off normal time.
Should we wear different clothes?
I'm not gonna let them choose my style. Nah, that's where I draw the line.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm
That's fair enough. Sorry, I don't know what I was thinking.
Hoodies, mate. It's peak style.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right.
Bye,
Let's
everyone.
get out of it. Take care, everyone. See you later.